Super's here with Jahman Warren Bay, Frank Kalo. All right, guys, let's start it off right here. Green Bay Packers. Are they going to win the Super Bowl 2 years in a row? Start off, Frank.
Right now, I have to say they will. They have the best offense that I believe no one can stop right now. They have too many mismatches. Jermichael Finley is a top 3 mismatch in the NFL. If you try to stop Jermichael Finley, you can't stop Greg Jennings. But if you try to stop both, you still have Jordy Nelson, James Jones, James Starks, Ryan Grant. There's just too many weapons on the offense. I believe no defense. You might be able to slow them down for a little bit, but you cannot stop them for a whole game. And I believe their defense creates enough turnovers, as you saw last game, where they had 2 touchdowns in defense to make it all the way to Super Bowl and win.
I don't agree with you. I don't think the Packers' defense is enough to get them through the playoffs and then get to the Super Bowl. They might be able to win the NFC by just outscoring everybody, but when it comes to the Super Bowl, you need to be on your game. Every single person on your team has to be playing at their absolute best for you to win the Super Bowl. And their front four is not doing that. Their defense, they may create turnovers, but they don't. I don't know their actual turnover ratio. So I'm not gonna say right now until I have the numbers in front of me that their defense creates enough turnovers. Because right now, if their defense was creating that many turnovers, then they wouldn't be ranked 30th in the league in overall defense right now. Also, if you look at the Green Bay Packers running game, it's not very effective. They're winning games purely by passing the football. What are you gonna do when you have to go? If you play San Francisco, right? San Francisco's probably gonna make the playoffs, and then if they're probably gonna have an easier road to get to the NFC Championship game than the Green Bay Packers. So if the playoff standings shake out the way they look, they will now. The way they appear, they will now. San Francisco can keep the ball out of the Packers' offensive hand long enough with their running game, which the Packers' run defense is terrible actually. Clay Matthews apparently doesn't know how to tackle. Frank Gore and Kendall Hunter running the football can eat up and chew up a lot of that time. And then most people are expecting Alex Smith would throw the game away, but right now he hasn't done that. He's rarely turned the ball over this year. And then their defense is good enough to get a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, which is, if you watch the Packers last year, was a huge problem for them. That's why they barely got into the playoffs last year, because there was so much pressure that defenses were getting on him that he rarely had time to throw in the pocket and set his feet. And yes, people can make the argument that his release is so quick that it won't really matter. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when that bubble screen or that hot receiver is taken away? What are you gonna do then?
I believe that the Packers showed last year in the playoffs that all you need to do for a run game is to show the defense that you are willing to run the ball and have some effectiveness to it. And they do have 2 formidable running backs, James Starks and Ryan Grant. Ryan Grant's been at 1,000 running rushers until he got hurt last year. James Stark is a very good running back. And I believe that with the 49ers, they won't have enough offense you need to score at least 27 points to beat the Packers.
But you don't need to outscore the Packers. Let's go one of your predictions. We're talk about this later. What about the Eagles, right? What if the Eagles start finding the stride and find the rhythm? They can definitely outscore the Packers. They're a team that can definitely outscore the Packers, and they can match up well with the Packers. They can cover all their receivers man to man without having to go to a zone coverage. What are you going to do when you go against the Giants? The Giants' pass defense may not be the best, but James Starks and Ryan Grant will virtually be ineffective in that game because you're not going to run the ball on the Giants. You're not going to run the ball on the 49ers either because their front 7 is that good. Look, you're going to need more elements to that than win the Super Bowl. You always bring up the Colts whenever we talked about this, how the Colts, they have one of the worst rush defenses ever. But you know what? They could run the football effectively with Joseph Adai, and their pass defense was good enough with Bob Sanders in the playoffs that they could overcome somebody running the football on them.
But with the Packers defense, last year, they're one of the best defenses. they have the same players as last year, except for a couple players.
Well, then why are they not playing at that high level anymore? Because last year the Packers defense was way better.
But
than they're playing way better than they are right
Take the
now.
Colts, for example. They were one of the worst defenses in the regular season, but when the playoffs came, they were the best defense, and that's why they won the Super Bowl.
But the year before that, the Colts the year before that, were not one of the best defenses.
All right, now you brought up the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think, though, they will have a shot at making the playoffs? Will they make the playoffs this year?
I think they definitely have a shot. Considering that they play two of their toughest games remaining at home, which is against the Patriots and the Giants. You play them at home. I don't know what the Eagles' problem is though. They're just not playing to the level that you would expect them to play at for the talent that's on their team. I don't know if it's coaching, chemistry. I don't know what it is. When I watch them play, it's just like they're in every game. And it's just like it doesn't make sense to why they haven't made it. So basically, their season comes down to this: we cannot lose. We can only afford to lose one more game, and that's it. You have to beat the Giants. You have to beat Dallas at Dallas at home, which Dallas has a much more favorable schedule than the Eagles do going down the stretch. The Giants are playing at such a high level right now. It's just. I don't think they'll do it. I really don't think the Eagles will be able to make the playoff. It's definitely possible, but likely no. I don't think they'll make it.
Right.
With the Eagles, the reason why I think they'll make the playoffs is because of their division. It's so inconsistent it's just you can't decide in the beginning of the year. Last year, the same thing with the Giants. They were on a roll, and then they blow it in the last 4 games, and that's why Philadelphia made the playoffs and won that division last year. You can never count on Tony Romo to play a full season as good as he can. You know he makes mistakes, but he loses a game for him, and take out the Redskins. So the reason why the Eagles, I think, make playoffs is I think they do have the most talent in that division, and I believe that if they can play like not last game, but the week they played 2 games before when they destroyed Dallas, I believe that they can make playoffs, and that's the reason they will.
But you like you always bring up that Dallas game, Frank. That was coming off of bye week. I know you say that yes, the bye week is different, but it's not. You have 2 weeks to really prepare for a game. Okay. The first week, the players now with the way things are set up now, they don't practice or anything that first week. It's about mental preparation. You are thinking about one game for 2 weeks. You're so ready for that game already because it's one of your arch rivals, and now you have 2 weeks to rest your body up, mentally prepare, look at all the tape, study everything, and then go play to your highest level. They're not gonna have that anymore. You don't have another bye week. When you go to the Patriots, when you play the Patriots are gonna know how to slice up that. Tom Brady is gonna know how to slice up the Eagles defense, how to look at the weaknesses of Nani Asabwa and Asante Samuel. The Patriots defense hasn't really been playing that well, but then again.